Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Scorpio for January 2016. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, where you can see more about my Registering Now, Creating Your Successful Online Business course. And you can also become part of my email community by signing up for my free email newsletter, and you get goodies that go along with that. So check it out. So January, this brings us into the new year. I don't feel like it's a new year, and I have to start out with that today because it's very relevant and very important to the plans that you're going to make in January. The astrological new year starts in March. When the sun moves into March or into Aries at the end of March is when the astrological new year. For thousands of years, we've been on this solar-based calendar where January is the new year. But it's not really based in anything astrologically or energetically. And this January is even more important to not view as too much of a new year because the energy is going backwards. January 5th through January 25th, we have Mercury retrograde. You can see more about this transit by searching for Annie Botticelli Mercury retrograde and checking out that video because I talk about a lot of do's and don'ts and, just things that you really need to know. This transit happens 3 or 4 times a year, and it's a beautiful opportunity to slow down. Wonderful opportunity to rest and have balance. In a world where there's more and bigger and everything quicker, we're having these counterbalances in the forms of transits like this, even though these have been going on since long before the world was the way it is, but the opportunity with the way the world is now is to take a rest, to not be on full throttle all of the time, that when the energy starts going backwards, to go inward a little bit, to go backwards a little bit, to be a little bit more quiet. So we have this beautiful opportunity in Mercury retrograde, but it's not the time to move things forward in a way that's launching them. It's fine, Capricorn energy is very productive, so it's fine to be productive, but productive and launching things and starting brand new things can be totally two different things. And I recommend that they are. If you're watching this video in December and you've got some burning things that you really want to get out into the world, try to get them going in December if you can. We've got some pretty great dates until close to Christmas. And if you sign up for my free email newsletter, I send out more detailed dates that are good and challenging ones as well. That's one of the goodies my email newsletter list gets. But you get them retrospective. So whenever you sign up in December, you'll still get a resend of that. So it's important for you to launch things that you absolutely have to get done soon in December. So many people are going to make the mistake that they're going to table all of these things until January. I've got the holidays, I've got this is super busy, I'm going to do all this stuff in January. And some of the stuff on the list might be cool to do in January. If it's going backwards, if it's clearing out old stuff, if it's analyzing old data, if it's redoing things, if it's renewing things, whatever. But if it's brand new things, you're going to totally miss the boat by waiting. Unless you want to wait even longer and wait till the middle of February when the energy has cleared. So we've got a new moon in Capricorn, which is wonderful for business-related things. Business is a very strong focus for Scorpio. It has been for some time. And we've talked about Jupiter's placement. Jupiter, for you early degree placements, is now in the 11th house, which I'm going to talk more about what that is. You later degree placements may still have energy in the 10th house, so expanding your career, work, and life purpose. But the middle to later degree placements have this expanding energy in the 11th house, which is all about networking and working in groups, working on the internet. So if you have an internet-based business, even though Jupiter's not in your 10th house anymore, it could be expanding your business because, first of all, you laid a foundation in the 10th house when it was in the 10th house. But second of all, Jupiter is expanding everything having to do with the 11th house now. So it's like a continuation of energy that you started in the 10th house. Social media, groups, organizations, teams, humanitarian efforts, anything having to do with friendships, circles, networking. This is a fantastic time for making your circles wider, and that will be good for your business. The more people that know you and know what you do, then if you can establish yourself as the go-to person for that thing, then that's going to assist you tremendously. So we've got Jupiter in there doing that whole thing, which is amazing, bringing opportunities. But there's something else in the longer term transits that I want to talk about for Scorpio, and this has to do with Saturn. Jupiter is a really fun planet to talk about. Jupiter is my ruling planet. I'm a Sag, so I always get worked up when I talk about that. But we have some other not as fun things that I think will be helpful for us to discuss. Saturn is a planet that can be very heavy. It can be very, it can bring obstacles and hindrances and difficult experiences. And it's always somewhere in our chart. It's somewhere in our natal chart and it's somewhere in our solar chart. So what we're talking about for the horoscopes, that's for your solar chart. Well, it depends. It depends on what you're watching for. But in any case, you have Saturn in more than one place is what I'm trying to say. And it's complicated without getting your whole astrological picture. But I can address only what I can address here, which is one of the aspects of where Saturn is for you. If you're an early degree placement, you have Saturn moving through your house of finances, material possessions, financial security. If you're a middle to later degree placement, you have had and you still have Saturn moving through your first house. Some astrologers believe that one of the hardest placements for Saturn to be is in the grouping of time where it moves through your 12th house and then through your first house. And this goes on for like 5 to 6 years. So if you are a person that has felt, a Scorpio that has felt laden with physical problems, physical ailments, physical immobility, heaviness on your mind, pressure, depression, problems sleeping, other mental diagnosis, emotional diagnosis, Saturn could be involved here. Personally, when I look at charts, 90% of the people that have this transit going on are either medicated for any of the things that I listed, and if they're completely against prescription drugs, they're self-medicating, or they're doing natural therapies. But it's a really high percentage of people that are they're just feeling like they're going crazy. You know, and Scorpios in general have a tendency to go so deep that sometimes they fall into this abyss, I call it, you know, and it's like, it's hard to get out of that. When Saturn is moving through that placement, it can be even harder. So if you are a person that is suffering with one of these things, know that first of all, there is a chance that it's part of a long-term transit that will pass. Second of all, even if it's not linked to this transit, you still can do things to improve it and help it to pass. But what you need to do is honor what Saturn is saying. And Saturn wants attention. It wants discipline. It's like this idea that the squeaky wheel gets the oil. That's what Saturn is saying. Saturn is saying, I'm squeaky here, give me the oil. So the oil has to mean that you have to give the attention to what the problem is. You can't ignore it. You can't just not go to the doctor about it. You can't not get assistance with it. You might need second opinions. You might need third opinions. You might need to, whatever it is, you have to focus on it. And then you have to focus on the solution. So many people are diagnosed with things that some doctors will say are not curable, and they wind up finding ways to cure it. Now, I'm not a doctor. You have to research these things for yourself. But I can tell you that with this placement, I have seen physical body work be amazing for bringing to resolution long-standing mental and emotional patterns that are stuck in the configuration of the musculoskeletal system. So my favorite modalities are osteopathic manipulation, which are done by DO doctors, doctors of osteopathy. These are medical doctors that have additional training in bone manipulation. It's different than chiropractic. Chiropractic can also be helpful here, but my favorite ones are osteopathic manipulation and myofascial release. Myofascial release is a modality where the fascia is basically ripped. The fascia is what, like if you take two pieces of cardboard and you glue them together and then you kind of open them up, and you can see in there like the glue pieces like that, that's the fascia. And so if you have a musculoskeletal problem, the fascia, which glues things together between your bones and your muscles and things like that, have been glued in this old configuration. So if you get chiropractic work without getting some of this other work, it keeps pulling it back into that configuration. You have to do it all at the same time. And this is the time that you want to be doing that. Even if you're an early degree placement where Saturn has moved on from this placement, if you did not resolve what Saturn was wanting from you, it could still be causing you problems. So this is relevant for all Scorpios, because I'm sure you want to be able to bring your light into the world. The depth, I talk about this all the time, you know, someone close to me is a Scorpio, and the depth of knowledge and understanding within the Scorpio energy is so profound, and most people don't have any idea about the magnitude of that within you because of the challenges that you have to presenting it to the world. So some of this is going to be locked up from the perspective of the chart in your body, in your physical body. Our brain is also in our bodies. Our brain is in our digestion. So doing things for your physical body, improving your digestive health is top on the list. You know, you've got to get those things in order to be in your highest expression. So that's what Saturn is doing right now, and it's really annoying because you want to just be able to focus on your business and then let that be enough. But if that is not enough, or you think that it can go further even if you have been successful, it's because you can only go as far with your what you're bringing out into the world as you are within yourself. And if you have limitations with your body, mind, spirit, then energy can only flow through you in a manner that is consistent with how it is inside of you. So you've got to work on these things. I can't tell you how many people, myself included, people focusing on spiritual work have done so much spiritual work and have completely ignored the physical body because they think of it as a luxury, because they think of it as they don't have the money to do it, or they're focusing on other things. If you don't also work with the physical body, you're only going to be able to get so far. So that is a huge lesson that's been on my mind that I've wanted to talk about with you. And it's not just happening in January, but maybe this is the time that you can go backwards and make some headway on things that have been impeding your forward movement. So with all that being said, we also have quite a bit of energy in the third house, either happening right at the beginning of January or coming, depending on your placement. The third house is a very busy house. You know, it's ruled by Gemini, so it's all over the place. It's here, it's over there, it's doing this, it's doing that. As I said before, just because Mercury's in retrograde in January doesn't mean it can't and won't be very productive. It's just you have to be careful with how you use the energy. There's a child close to me, a homeschooled child, who, without the hurried, scheduled, having to get up and then get in the car and then run and go to school and then be at school and then come back, kind of energy, he said, "Oh, tomorrow I think I'll watch this movement of the sun." 7 years old. Brilliant, profound, inspiring. That is the energy of this month. Even if you take time out to watch the movement of the sun, even if it's not all day, but you check in with it and you see, oh wow, there's the sun, there's where it's going. That anchor point, that quiet point, that pulling in away from some of the busyness that may be going on is going to help you be more productive with everything else in your life. It's kind of like a meditation. So I feel like that is very strongly the story of January. It's where you can be productive, things will be going on, you'll have busy things happening, but you've got to take a little bit of edge off the busyness and put that internally. And as I've stated, I think a good place to put that internally is on your physical body. Yoga is another wonderful way to work with this. But I do think that many of you are going to need the assistance of practitioners outside of yourself in addition. I like to give you modalities where you can do things on your own and not need other people to do it, but there are just certain things that you can't get around your blind spots with you because you have your blind spots. So don't be afraid to ask for help. So I can't see what's going on in your personal chart. If you would like a personal coaching reading with me, you can go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. You can see more about my Creating Successful Online Business course that's registering now. And you can also see more about my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine, which is based on my working with thousands of clients all over the world with all different kinds of circumstances and lifestyles, seeing the blocks that are impeding people from spreading their light into the world in a big way. I know what those blocks are, and I know how to help you push through them. And a lot of that information is in this 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine. So you can go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. You can click on programs, you can click on Shine, and it's on a sliding scale, so it's available to everybody. So sign up for my free email newsletter while you're there, and I hope you have a wonderful January, even if it's not a new year. And I'll see you next month. Bye.